Welcome. So we're going to go through question 14 here. It's in the reasoning section, so it's kind of a tricky question. It says 4 cans of dog food will feed 3 dogs for 1 day. How many cans are needed to feed 10 dogs for 6 days? So as I said, you might be reading down like, where on earth would you even begin with such an atrocity of a question? Well, we're going to begin by writing down what we're told. So in this sentence right here, what we're told is that if you have 4 cans, you can feed 3 dogs for 1 day. Perfect. Now, what we need to figure out is how many cans are needed to feed 10 dogs for 6 days. So hopefully you can notice that I'm going to have to change this 3 to a 10 and this 1 to a 6, and then see what my resulting cans are going to be. So that's what we're doing. We're going to change this one, and we're going to change this one to what we're being asked to find. So let's now kind of clean this up a bit. Okay. So we can either begin with changing dogs or we could change the day. Let's begin by changing the dogs. So let's change dogs to 10. Now, to go from 3 to 10 is pretty hard, isn't it? I mean, it would just be a bit of a mess. So when you can't do it in one step, do it in 2 steps. So I'm first going to make it 1 dog. That's easy. I'm going to divide by 3. And 3 divided by 3 is, drum roll, 1 dog. Now, here's the important part. Now that I have 1 dog, it's either going to affect the amount of days or it's going to affect the amount of cans. Now, I don't want to change the amount of days yet. And the reason for that is because, 1 is really easy to turn into 6. So I just want to leave that for the time being. Rather, the question is asking us to find how many cans. So let's just start altering this one. So if I want to figure out how many cans, and I now have less dogs. Well, if I have less dogs, I need less cans. That makes sense. I need less cans of food to feed these less dogs. So it makes sense that if the dogs go down, the cans go down as well. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to divide by 3. And I'm not going to get something pretty out. I'm going to get 4 on 3 cans, which is not pretty, but it's fine. We can leave it as such. And over here, I've got 1 day. Now we keep on going. Now remember, the aim of the game was to get this to 10 dogs. So I'm now going to have to go turn this 1 into 10. And the way I do that is I times by 10. And if I was to times by 10, I'm now going to end up with 10 dogs. And remember, we don't want to touch these days yet. But if I'm going to have 10 dogs, it's going to change something. So let's make it change the cans. If I have more dogs, I'll need more cans of dog food. I'm going to times this one by 10. Now, when you're timesing a number by a fraction, remember you times the numerator like this. And I know that 4 times 10 is 40. So I'm going to get 40 cans for 10 dogs for 1 day. All right. Then, as you can see, I've given this the tick of approval. I have 10 dogs here. Huzzah. But now I need 6 days. And at the moment, I only have 1 day. So what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to change this to 6 by timesing it by 6. So now I have 6 days. And again, if I'm going to have if this is now going to be 6 days, it's either going to be affecting the amount of dogs or the amount of cans I have. Well, I don't want to change the amount of dogs because I need 10 dogs to answer the question. So I'm going to have to change the amount of cans. Now, if I have to feed these dogs for more days, it was 1 day to 6 days, it's more days. Well, I'm going to need more cans of dog food. So if I'm timesing this one by 6, I'm going to times this one by 6 as well. It's going to be the same thing. I'm going to come over here and times this one by 6. So remember, I still have 10 dogs here. That didn't change. But now I have 40 times 6 on 3 cans. What is 40 times 6? 40 times 6 is 240. And you can use your calculator here. You can go, what's 240 divided by 3? It's going to be 80 cans. So that means, if I was to write this very neatly at the end, 80 cans can feed 10 dogs for 6 days. So my answer is 80 cans. Now, this is just one way to answer this question. You might find an alternative way, but the reason why I like this way is because I'm going to be using a similar method when I answer B and C. Hopefully you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next one.